And we are live. Welcome to NBA Live Before Lock. It is Sunday, May 4th, and there's absolutely no way I'm going to do it. I'm Josh Engleman. I'm joined by Eric Lindquist. We have a two-gamer today. This is the exact same thing we just did on Friday, but we only had one game. It was me on projections, me winning. That was pretty fun. Maybe we could do that again today. Yeah, I said it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow us both on Twitter. What's going on, buddy?
Not a big Star Wars fan? Is that what you were getting at? You're just not going to do it?
I've never seen a single one of the movies.
Oh, that's a bummer.
No, I'm ready for tomorrow when everybody stops doing this for another 364 days.
You were something. Oh, Kyle Schwarber just went yard. Please, God. I mean, why do I just get punished for doing smart stuff all the time? I can't get anything right with these Phillies lefties ever. And Kepler wasn't even in the lineup today. But anyway.
I thought you were going to tell me that you just won $4,000 on a Kyle Schwarber homer the same way we did Friday.
No, I'm in 11th. Yeah, that was fantastic. Ryan O'Hearn is an absolute goat for that. Went yard again today in my main lineup, but I'm in 11th in the $18, and I don't think I can do anything from there. So I'm buried now. Not going to top 10 it, but still productive, profitable start. Thank you, Sims Tool. And we continue on to NBA, where my guy is on projections coming off of last show, a Minimax W for the people. So nice for you to get in the W column because you keep getting everybody else W's. And, you know, whether it's Greg, myself, had a couple of really nice finishes. I was profitable on Friday, but you took down the Minimax. So congratulations.
Yeah. It was fun. Shout out Steven Adams. That worked out well. Somebody tagged me. They won 100K on FanDuel with Adams in the MVP spot. And they were like, I don't think you mentioned Adams in the MVP, but like this worked too. And I was just like, I did it too, just a much shittier way, not $100,000 solo on FanDuel.
That would be awfully, awfully fun. Yeah, the FanDuel ships are fantastic. Now they changed the format a little bit. We'll talk about that as we get into more of the showdown slates throughout.
Yeah.
As we get to Eastern Conference, Western Conference finals. But today, nice to have a two-gamer
this week.
Yeah, I mean
we have it Tuesday, I believe. No, we'll have Minnesota and whoever the hell wins today. But I think Wednesday is just one game.
Looking forward to that. Obviously, showdown though, FanDuel. I do enjoy those ones where you just know the lineup dupes that you're avoiding, and if you can get that one piece different. I know Steve Buzzard, I think it was in the channel that I saw him make some kind of a comment about it too, that he enjoyed the way that FanDuel is like very condensed about stuff, and some people didn't. It's going to be more spread out. I think more people are going to be able to find ways into profitable spots. But yeah, you could take an aggressive stand with one piece like Adams there, and you can make yourself a lot of money. So those are fun days, but FanDuel changing up the format is not ideal.
Well, let's talk today. We got 55 minutes to go. We're waiting on news. We've got a new series. We've got a game 7. It's a hell of a day. Pacers Cleveland starting it off. They lock at 6 o'clock. New series, game 1, second round. Darius Garland, it appears, is going to get ruled out. I still have him in. I can't take him out until 5:30. Like, it's the first game. We're going to get it. I'm going to get that stuff in. But it's looking like he's not playing, right? Like, I think we could feel pretty safe there. I'm going to start actually, as we start working through this first game, I'm going to start taking him out on my side so that it's just kind of ready by the time we get to 5:30. And then if he's not out, I'll just not save the file.
There you go. That's nice of you. It feels as though it's already written in the stars. He didn't practice Saturday. Today we get news he's not warming up as normal. So hopefully you were able to jump on some of those props before things got ripped off the board. Obviously respect your limits. Don't get crazy and have, get limited because of something like that. But definitely was something you could have taken nice advantage of earlier in the day as well, just knowing that he didn't practice on Saturday. I look at it as one of those things where, like, yeah, it's the first game of the slate. I think we all assume that he's going to be out at this point, and it's going to bring Ty Jerome into a major conversation piece of this, like he's right out of the gate 5K. That's probably too cheap. They completely bashed the brains in of Miami, 22-21 minutes there. We could see him play closer to like the 26 minutes he played in a more competitive game 1 that they had, but they completely wiped the floor with Miami for 4 games. Kenny Atkinson is the absolute man. He's just revamped this entire team. It makes it fun, but Ty Jerome is definitely the guy who looks more interesting that we'll get to. DeAndre Hunter definitely is going to look more interesting. 4,300. He played 28 minutes in game 3, I think it was, and then game 4 again. It was over as soon as they started the second half. I'm actually surprised they even had starters out there in the middle of the third quarter, but suppose you just want to make sure that you get it done and you move on. But I look at him, Strus 4,400, Mobley 7,700. All these guys are interesting, but I know we've got the interesting piece of removing a Garland and Donovan Mitchell 8,600. How does he look relative to Tyrese Halliburton for you right now, knowing that more than likely we're not going to have Garland out there?
Halliburton's my biggest fade right now, and that's with Garland in. So my guess, I don't know if Garland frees that up in some way, but my guess is that I don't end up with a ton of Halliburton today, which I'm okay with. You didn't mention in your, let's look, we'll talk through Cleveland right now as
my
just
little
sort of
soliloquy there. The Evan Mobley, Jared Allen pieces.
We're going to hop back to Indy quick and break them down, but I put this pin in everybody's head earlier today. Now, if we're going to get Garland out, Isaac Okoro is going to be the name you're going to want today for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh my God. Do we
talk
really?
About it in a bit.
Sam Merrill started last time out, right? That was the option that they went to.
Yeah, but Miami sucks and doesn't have Tyrese Halliburton.
That's true.
Get ready.
That's true. Oh, interesting. I honestly, this is why you're Josh Engleman covering NBA only, and I'm here having my head in the MLB clouds, looking super tired because I've been up since 5 a.m. Just trying to grind out MLB profits for people. But I look at just all these ancillary pieces. I mean, 4,400 Hunter, 4,400 it is for Strus, 4,300 Hunter. Those aren't going to go under the radar. Isaac Okoro is under the radar right now. If you get him in the starting unit playing defense on Halliburton, that's a great shout out.
Yeah, we're going to have that conversation in a bit. Let's talk through the Pacers, which is really I don't have a ton here to talk about. I don't like them today all that much. I like Cleveland here at home. I do think that Indy's better than what the line says, but at the same time, I'm finding it hard to lean Pacers. I'm under the field on just about every one of these guys. Miles under on Halliburton, under on Nembhard, Miles under on Nesmith, under on Siakam, way under on Turner, under on Mathurin. The only guy I'm neutral to is the one I hate the most in this matchup, which is McConnell. I'm kind of leaning on a big Cleveland win.
Yeah, the only guy that I'm overweight to right now is Benedict Mathurin. I'm overweight to him in a pretty prominent way. He's 3,700, and this is probably going to change now because we haven't updated everything to have Garland potentially out. Again, I want to talk very clearly about that, where we don't know the exact status, but we can assume with about 90% certainty that with all of the things that have happened historically that he's not going to play basketball today. And that's going to change a lot of the value we have on this slate. But Benedict Mathurin, he got a late start on this series to some extent. He played in, what was it? He had one game that he missed. Game 4, I think it was, in the Milwaukee series. It's game 4, game
3 or 4.
Yeah, it was one of the two. And so he ended up playing 25 minutes in the game 1, though. And that was more competitive than what the scoreboard would probably lean you towards. And then he had, an abdomen deal that was just really, really weird and didn't look exactly right. He played 14 minutes. It has more to do with the fact that, if you're down 12, down 14, do they actually care about Benedict Mathurin being on the floor out there chucking? Because at Arizona, whether it was here rookie year, sophomore year, he has just nonstop been a chucker. And Benedict Mathurin, I think, is really, really interesting as a contrarian value option, especially once we get some of this more condensed chalk on the Cleveland side. If you're looking for a Cleveland smacks him around run back, I like Benedict Mathurin more than I like TJ McConnell evenly, because I think TJ McConnell played pretty well in the last series. And I don't think Indy cares all that much about Benedict Mathurin. You could argue and say, oh, well, then why wouldn't you play Jarris Walker or anything? I just think Benedict Mathurin's probably going to get a shot at it no matter what. Probably going to be your first guy off the bench alongside TJ McConnell. And I think this is kind of an interesting series where if he gets hot, you could see him walk himself into 20-plus minutes in some spots. He's 3,700. He's 0.9 fantasy point per minute guy. Not as interesting as TJ McConnell, who's the better producer, but I do think that there's a lot of end of game down 20 scenarios where he might still be on the floor.
Who do you think wins this game, by the way? I mean, I assume you think Cleveland wins because the line's fucking 8.5 and it's hard to say it, but how do you feel about the Pacers in this series?
It's interesting. The Pacers, They had some pretty darn good run good just to get to that spot last year. I mean, Cleveland was dinged up. I mean, how many games did we have Mitchell out, Garland out? Like there were
Good
just so
chunk.
many injuries. Allen, like there were just so many things that happened that it's hard to evaluate them. Plus, Cleveland stylistically is so different this year than what they were last year. Cleveland takes the second most threes in the NBA. Kenny Atkinson completely changed the complexion of this offense. This is the best offense in the NBA in terms of like EPM. Like we've seen them, I guess lately it's been the Nuggets, Celtics, and then the Cavs, but the Nuggets just so bad defensively it doesn't matter as much. But I gotta feel as though like Cleveland is still like this line looks pretty darn efficient to me. I ran some stuff on it over in Dunks and Threes, and in terms of their predictions, in terms of like what they think, they're on your side where it's closer to like 6.5. I think they had it at 6 earlier in the day. I probably would be staying away, but there's definitely a higher variance to it with Cleveland shooting as many threes as they do now.
Shit, you said something and I wanted to respond to it, and then I started reading chat about pick and roll defense, and then I lost
I was talking about EPM. I was talking about Cleveland shooting as many threes as they do. Go ahead.
Yeah, the interesting thing that I saw this morning, and it was something that I was paying attention to the Pacers most of the season, their net rating for their starting five, or if you swap out Nesmith for Mathurin, because we had that stretch where Nesmith was out for a bit, they're basically the same in possessions. Their net rating in either one of those two 5-man lineups is better than the net rating was for the Cleveland Cavaliers in the regular season for their starting five with Garland, I might add. They're not a better team without Darius Garland. So like Cleveland gets a little bit worse. Indy was really good in the regular season with these guys. And then we step here, we take Garland out of the lineup, and they're still 8.5 point dogs. I'm having trouble reconciling all of this. And I think game one's going to tell like a very interesting story. I'm finding it really hard to figure out where the rest of the minutes go for Cleveland if like taking Garland out, because they beat the shit out of Miami so bad in the 2 games that Garland missed. Like they didn't really open up the rotation, but the whole bench played the fourth quarter in the last game. They played 5 minutes, like they played 25 minutes of blowout run in the game before that. I have no idea who's going to get the minutes today. Like closing lineup for Cleveland's weird. We'll get there again in a sec.
Oh, it's going to be
my expectation is I just don't have much of the Pacers today. That's my takeaway for these guys.
Think about how many times Ty Jerome played himself into random closing lineups throughout the year, just because it's like, well, the guy's inferno mode. We can't rip him off the floor. I mean, he's done unsustainable shooting things all year long, and somehow he's sustained it. I don't know if that goes like into next year. We get an off season here for Ty Jerome. I'm very curious to see what Ty Jerome looks like at the start of next year for sure. But I'm with you. It is very hard to think about what those closing lineups are. Just to close the loop on Indy, I'm not sure if you have the net ratings in front of you, though, but Andrew Nembhard, whether it was the Canadian national team, whether it's the playoffs last year, he's such a big difference maker to this Indy team because what he does on the defensive end of the floor, he is incredible. He played over Jamal Murray handily for the Canadian national team, and nobody argued about it because Jamal Murray, if he's not knocking down shots, is an extremely inferior postseason basketball player to Andrew Nembhard, which I know might sound crazy to some. But like you put Andrew Nembhard in the Bruce Brown role for Denver, that is a disgusting basketball team. And Indy, the stuff that they've had, you bring up the 5-man lineups with Nesmith, with Mathurin, Nembhard, when he was out, they were just in shambles on the defensive end, just in absolute shambles. And so I think how he plays against Donovan Mitchell, how he handles Ty Jerome, I mean, that's going to be such an interesting part of this series because, I mean, Cleveland's got 2 guys, and Halliburton, you can't hide. Like, Halliburton's going to get targeted nonstop, right? Like, that's going to be what you do if you're Cleveland, is you go right at Halliburton.
That's what I would do.
And, like, every possession. I'm very curious to see Halliburton in this series as well because, like, you have him in the right minutes projection. He does so much on the offensive end that it's like you gotta kind of live with it on the defensive end to some extent. But, like, I am very curious to see Halliburton in this series and how he ends up looking. And I'm with you. I'm more inclined to be fading him than anybody else on the Indy side.
It's an interesting balance. I mean, Cleveland exceptional against the pick and roll. Obviously, that's not surprising between Mobley and Allen being your front line. Like you're going to be in good shape. I'm intrigued. I'm having trouble figuring out who I think Nembhard's going to be, who his primary matchup is here. I mean, the starting lineup might tweak that a little bit. Because, like, pretty clearly you're getting Neesmith to Donovan Mitchell. I would imagine that's the goal in this scenario. Normally you would have had just Nembhard on Darius Garland, and that would have been, you would have been done. Yep. Now, like, I don't know where you put him.
I mean, Nembhard's 6'5". He's not like some small guy. I mean, Aaron Neesmith, Boston, Aaron Neesmith is definitely the guy that you're probably going to be throwing at Mitchell more, but I do think just the ability, I don't know. I'm actually very curious to see that. Like, I think you're going to see a lot more Nembhard on Donovan Mitchell, like, than throughout the entire series. Like,
I don't think you can guard him.
It's interesting.
He couldn't guard Brunson. He got beat like a drum last year.
Nembhard did?
Yeah. It was bad. They had to take him off of him. He couldn't handle Brunson in that series last year.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting too. Like, what are the minutes if Benedict Mathurin isn't knocking down shots? What are the minutes for like Ben Shepherd? Like, is Ben Shepherd like not today? I'm not going to play him in DFS or anything, but like, is there going to be a game 2 or game 3 if the Indies trying to make adjustments? Just thinking ahead to some extent too. Like, what do they do to mix it up if they lose this game by 20?
I don't think they have anything to do. Like, I think they can only just play their guys. By the way, S&P was touting Ben Shepherd this morning on the strategy show, so he's very happy to hear you do that right now.
I'm not touting him.
I don't think they have like a break in case of emergency scenario here. They're like, whatever we want to think of Ben Shepherd, and I don't want to say that like he can't play his way into more minutes or be a guy in a DFS scenario. Like, he's not any good in this scenario. Like, there's a reason he's the 11th dude or whatever of the Pacers. I don't think Jarris Walker's any answer. Like, you can't play TJ McConnell in these scenarios for a ton of minutes. He's just like the guy that you put out there if you need to stop a run and get energy going. It's kind of Mathurin to me, but I don't think he's good enough to do it.
Yeah, the TJ McConnell one's interesting purely because he's always been a good fantasy producer, but I'm with you where we saw a lot of minutes where Halliburton and McConnell were sharing the floor last series. That was just because Milwaukee had nothing offensively you had to be remotely worried about at the guard position. Like, Indy was legitimately like, fuck it, we'll just play them both together at spots, and it was working nicely. TJ McConnell, again, he played really, really well in that series. I'm inclined to think he's perfect at 16 and a half minutes here. I think you've got that about right. And I don't know, Benedict Mathurin's the one guy that I think I'm going to end up overweight to on this team, and probably nobody else.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not expecting to be over on anybody here. I'm probably going to like Indy a bit in game 2 if this breaks the way that I think it does. I'm just going to skip Cleveland for right now. And we're just going to wait it out for the next 10 minutes. Because like all we're going to be doing is just talking about stuff that isn't really on the screen. So let's just skip that one for now. Just say hi, everybody. Hit the like button if you're here. We got a lot left to talk about. We still have 40 minutes to go until lock. We are live on Playback right now, playback.tv/Stokastic. We'll put the Pacers-Cavs game on after this. You guys can watch that if you want to. And we're sharing the Portfolio EV tool on Playback right now. If you want to grab some bets, that is up on the screen using OddsShopper.com. You can get the Portfolio EV tool for a free trial, no cost whatsoever, 7 days. Click the link in the description. You get a market-based approach to beating the books. You can get an odds boost calculator, parlay builders, mass entry. You're shopping around for the best lines. You've got it for pick'em sites and sports books, expected value, expected win rates, tailored to your bankroll. Build your own portfolios. 7-day free trial, any new user. So the first game we have today, we don't know shit about. Brand new series. The last game we have today, I would argue half of it we don't know shit about. Golden State Warriors, 2.5 point dogs in Houston, 206 total. We got the news this afternoon or somewhere around this afternoon. Gary Payton, questionable now for today. I thought they were going to take him out of the starting lineup one way or the other.
Yep.
I think that ends up being Moses Moody. Whether they move anybody else, I don't know. I have no idea. I didn't expect Pajemski to get out of the starting lineup on Friday, and that happened. But we do have to talk about the number one guy on the Warriors. I can't get away from him. The data looks great. And, if I'm going to ever have him, this is probably the game I'd want to have him. 8,400 power forward only, Jimmy Butler. 53% optimal, 53% owned, the number one play in the boom bust tool.
He is the best play of the day. I don't understand his ownership right now. This is a game 7. I am obsessed with him and Jimmy Butler. I think Houston, because of Jalen Green, what's happened throughout this series with him and what those minutes have been, and obviously the emergence of the Steven Adams, Alperen Şengün lineups, like there's just a lot of ways that can finish out. Golden State is playing Curry and Butler, right? Like there's no planet where, like, the only way that they don't play 40 minutes today each is they're down 30 in the last 6 minutes of the game. Like that's it. Like there's no other, even then you probably have them out there because the last 2, it's gotten so wonky at the end where you haven't necessarily had those minutes, like those minute ceilings, but now it's just extended even further. And I do think, same thing I've said before, as long as they're not like down 10 or 12, they'll get like a second quarter sub. They'll both be out for like a quick second. But otherwise, Jimmy Butler is going to play 42 minutes. You're going to get 42 minutes more than likely of Steph Curry. And I feel pretty confident in saying that the two of them, if they just have bad games, I'm okay losing money on the slate. But like, they're the two guys that you just feel like they can't possibly at the current ownerships be bad plays because it's a pure minutes and fantasy point per minute thing. I mean, Steph, 1.15, Jimmy Butler, 1.1. Like, I just don't see a planet where you don't want to have 75% of these dudes. Currently, I have 80% Steph, 70% Jimmy Butler. I'll probably get a little bit more, especially as we get value that's going to move guys out. Because again, DeAndre Hunter is going to look better. Max Strus is going to look better. As a result, like, I'm going to have money to go to Jimmy Butler, power forward, 8,400. And I'm just going to play a ton of both and move on with my life. And then the question I have is like, starting 5, I think the most likely starting 5 here is also getting Buddy Hield ripped off the floor. Like, you brought up Gary Payton. I would be shocked if Buddy Hield started today after what we've seen the last 2. Like, you can still bring him off the bench, but like Moses Moody and Brandon Pajemski alongside Curry, Butler, Green, I don't see a reason that they haven't gone to that lineup. They could go Pajemski and then go post at 5, but they've been somehow hesitant to do that in the last 2 games. And so Steph Curry, I mean, especially if Gary Payton ends up out, which, I don't think is neither here nor there. Make sure you have like $200 to get to Moses Moody, or, there's guys on the Houston side we can kind of flip that into. We're assuming we're going to get that news after lock, but like, you're going to want $200 on the table in some of those lineups. So just kind of like go through the Sims tool and make sure you do if you've got Gary Payton in anything. But I think both of them have a really good chance of being out of that starting lineup.
I wouldn't be surprised. Look, we know this much. Curry, Butler, and Draymond are starting today. The next 2 starters are going to be some combination of Gary Payton, Buddy Hield, Moses Moody, Brandon Pajemski, and maybe Quentin Post. Let's have the conversation since Steve Kerr actually said his name. Do you think Jonathan Kuminga is playing in this game?
Yes.
Okay.
I think he's playing. I don't think, like, outside of coming in at the last 2 minutes of a first quarter or at the top of the second, depending on the game script, very, very early, I think you can't project him for more than like 6-7 minutes. Like that's like the tippy top. That's the top.
Agreed.
That I could project him for.
I think the most likely time you see him is if either one of the teams are up by like 10 early.
Yep.
You just put him in and you're like, all right, well, like he's a wild card here one way or the other, especially if Golden State's down 10. If they're up 10, they probably don't do. Then I think you see like a Looney for an extra minute or 2. He played like 30 seconds. I watched him block a shot. Like during that game, I watched him block a shot because I was interested in him because of his price on Friday. Because you wouldn't have needed much out of him for him to be the guy if he played like 2 more minutes. Right. But I watched him block a shot and I was like, all right. And then I felt like I saw him. And then I went back and looked at the end of the game and he played like 90 seconds. And I was like, oh, so I just saw like the only thing he ever did.
Yes, you did. It's the Looney thing is so wild because when you see a Şengün and Adams lineup, naturally you'd think Looney would be on the floor at some point, and they just don't want to do it, Josh. Like,
No.
I don't know.
They have nobody that can shoot on this team outside of the obvious.
Yeah,
Like,
outside of Curry, Pajemski. Those are your two.
Yeah.
And, Heald at times. Heald is such a liability in every other facet of basketball, though. So there's that. I get it. Jimmy Butler can't shoot. So there's that, too. Tough time.
I don't expect to see Kuminga for anything other than weirder game scripts. I don't expect him to be in the rotation in a competitive matchup for any sort of real minutes. That's where I'm at right now. I'm with you on Steph, 2xing Steph, well over on. I couldn't 2x Butler if I wanted to. He's over 50% owned already. They're the best two dudes to me that I can get to today. Jimmy Butler's the first thing you put into any cash lineup today. I'm with you on Heald. I'm very nervous about him. I do find him incredibly interesting today as a GPP play if he's going to be 9% owned, because his feature is that if the shots are falling, he stays back out there and keeps shooting. Like, the thing that he does, his skill is the thing they need the most. And that gives him the lifeline at low ownership, but he makes me very, very nervous. Peyton terrifies me too. He hasn't looked very good. He's not doing well at all in the Fred VanVleet matchup. And now he's questionable, and we don't even know what his real status is going to be. By the way, questionable illness. So total wild card. There's no way to know a single thing about that until we get there. So that one sucks. But right now, if Moses Moody is coming off the bench at 3,600, shooting guard, small forward, not even off the bench, I like Moses Moody a lot today. I think he's going to get more minutes. The price is great. The position's great. He doesn't seem like he's going anywhere.
Yeah, and I want to repeat this again. If you are going to play any Gary Payton today, which, he's at 3,300, he's the cheapest guy on the entire slate that I'm playing. You have to have a plan with some of those lineups. Like, it's all right to sacrifice some lineups to the gods in 150 purely because, like, think of how many losing days you're going to have as is. Like, Gary Payton, he's 200 away from Post. He's 300 away from Moody. You want to at least, like, have some of those lineups that you want to be vetting ahead of time just to know what you're going to do with it. But, like, it's not the say all end all. Like, you're probably just moving it to Kuminga and hoping something breaks your way. I'm not going to play anybody else, I think, underneath Gary Payton. Like, I think I'd probably just take the sunk cost in the lineup in a couple of those and go to the Kuminga piece. Like, there's nobody else in the 3K range in that game you'd want to get to, but we're all assuming we're going to get this Gary Payton illness news after lock. And so you have only that game to be working with. I would at least be more inclined, if I'm between two lineups in the Sims, as far as harding it and taking a look at it as we finish things out, have a game plan in place, because it would be better to get to Post for 200 by a mile. It'd be better to get to Moody for 300 more by a mile. But there are going to be some lineups you might just have be dead, where Gary Payton, if he's the guy who clicked in it, you're moving it to Kuminga and you're going to feel like shit.
These guys scare the shit out of me. By the way, in case I didn't mention it for FanDuel on
the
Golden State side.
I said we weren't going to get that news. Gary Payton listed out.
Okay.
Wow.
He must have, Steve Kerr must have went to see if he was okay, and Gary Payton must have hit him with like a skunk spray, diarrhea, and it was just like, he's out.
Oh my God. Wow.
Okay. We got Gary Payton out before Darius Garland on the show. I didn't see that coming.
How?
Well, this is going to be a fun 29 minutes. Let's take Gary Payton out.
Okay. This definitely does open up Kuminga to actually play a little bit now, for what it's worth. Like, it's more
100%
more inclined that we're going to get a lot more minutes for Brandon Pajemski. I think Curry, Pajemski, Heald, Butler, Green is still your favorite to be the starting lineup. But I wouldn't be shocked to see Heald ripped off the floor for Moody. I wouldn't be shocked to see Post ripped off or put on the floor for Heald. But now Kuminga,
I think Moody's going to start over Payton. I still don't think Pajemski goes back in.
Okay.
That's my guess right now. But
okay.
Fucking tiny grain of salt.
Yeah. I'm still going to want to get to some Pajemski based on what we saw last game. Like, and that was the thing that I said. I had a feeling that we were going to get some drastic shifting there, and it's Steve Kerr. Like, you're still going to get Pajemski out there. He still has more utility. He's still the guy you're going to project for more minutes than Buddy Heald, for more minutes than Quinn Post, for more minutes than Moses Moody, even starting there. But Now Kuminga is actually a thing to talk about. Whereas before, I felt pretty clear in having 0. Yeah, I felt good about having 0. I do not feel good about having 0 Kuminga now at a flat 3K, knowing what else do they do off the bench? You're just going to play 7 dudes, a 7-man. Everything everything in Kerr's body is like, we need like that early 2010s lineups of like Iguodala and who's the big fucking 3-point shooter center that they had?
Mo Spates.
Yeah, Mo Spates. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Like just out there chucking bald head and all. Like I'm just saying, it's everything against Steve Kerr's nature to not get into this bench rotation to some extent. Gui Santos playing over Jonathan Kuminga would be the most tilting thing in the history of basketball to me. Like, especially coming off of it could happen. Steve Kerr, it's just, you're the worst, man. You're absolutely the worst. But yeah, here we go.
And yeah, no Gary
Garland officially out is what Rich just said, by the way.
Garland out. There it is. Just got it. All right. Well, I started working on this stuff. I'm going to need a little bit of betting data to pop in over the next 5 minutes or so, but we seem perfectly set up to have this updated fully across all 4 teams, projections, ownership loaded so that we have a 15-minute run out to 6 o'clock. So this will be fun.
Mo Spates reference, my biggest laugh of the day. You're welcome. Where did it go? There we go. Yeah. I mean, Mo Spates, those rotations were just absurd. Watching Mo Spates and Livingston and Iguodala just nuke the Cavs was one of my great joys in life. Like, I absolutely loved it back in the day because, like, I did not want Kevin Love to be successful after leaving Minnesota. I really didn't. Obviously, it ended up working out. He got the 1 title, but that was heartbreaking. That was actually heartbreaking. Sam Merrill starting. Good
Mitchell,
Lord.
Merrill, Strus, Mobley, and Allen, which is, what I expected it to be today, but I was holding out hope for Okoro. I think that's the move they make once the Pacers win a game.
Okay.
Because, rolling into this is like an 8-point favorite. You could just hold, serve, be good, and you don't have to do weird shit. So we'll see.
Atkinson, pedal to the metal, shoot as many threes as possible. Like that's what they're going to do. Sam Merrill starting does not shock me at all. Yeah.
All right. So I'm still taking a look at Golden State here. Still got Steph sitting in that like 40, 41 range. It's the Buddy Hield minutes that I just really don't know what to do with.
No clue.
We were talking about a guy that played 30 and 30 back to back and then 18 and 17. Where do you split the difference there?
Yeah, I mean, the difference is 0 for 6 from 3 as opposed to 5 for 11. I mean, the main thing is, I mean, it's gone so poorly. And obviously Golden State has this 3-1 ghost that exists in their locker room. And Jimmy Butler doesn't feel any of that. He wasn't there, but Jimmy Butler is still the best play on the slate. Steph Curry is your second best play on the slate still. So like, don't get confused. If you're playing cash, you're playing both of them. There's not a planet where I'm not playing them. The Buddy Hield one, I don't know what to say other than like, he could play 18 minutes if he doesn't make shots. He could play 32 minutes. 34 minutes is like on the table now with no Gary Payton. Like, he could really play into minutes here, especially if they're down 8, down 10, fourth quarter. Like, there are so many ways you just keep Buddy Hield on the floor despite the problems with him. And I think he's the most difficult minutes projection on the entire slate. So whatever you decide to do there, have fun. Because I mean, honestly, he's the textbook guy in The Sims. We've talked about the variance, like how you want to go about building that. He's the textbook guy you just want to ramp that up to, because I don't know what to do with him. He's 4K. I assume, like, again, I think there's a very good chance he doesn't start as well, but is that 50-50? I don't know if it reaches 50-50 levels as I'm thinking about it. Maybe I misspoke earlier, but I definitely think he's the guy that like is going to win you a tournament or give you 3. So good luck.
Let's talk about Houston quickly, since we don't really have to worry about anything here. I'm not expecting them to be moving their lineup around or anything. We're getting 45% ownership to Amon Thompson. We're getting 35 for Van Vliet and Şengün and the hero, Steven Adams. And then we're in the teens on Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Jabari, Tari Eason. Let's talk through some of this Houston stuff. What do you like? What do you not like as I tweak this stuff? And Brijal, super chat. Work your magic, Josh. Killed it the other night. Thank you. Good luck, everybody. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work my magic right now.
Yeah.
Who wins? Who wins this one? Let's start there.
I mean, I don't even know what I'm cheering for as a Timberwolves fan. Like, I don't. I think probably Golden State, simply so we have home court, but we didn't need home court last time around against the Lakers. It didn't really matter. And I think Houston, we definitely have some things that create them major problems, but we stylistically, we're just better at doing the things that they're good at. Outside of rebounding, like they're a ridiculous rebounding team, but I mean, I guess Rudy Gobert exists, so has a pulse. He's back alive, but he'll have to play against two guys that are over 7 feet tall, as opposed to like 6'8" centers in this series if they play Houston. Golden State probably is my answer, just purely because we'd have home court. I think mathematically, like you're probably a bigger favorite against Golden State. I haven't looked at any look ahead or what the numbers would be there, but I think just off the top of my head, having more home court games, 4 home court games against Golden State would be better than 3 against Houston. But that's just my feel for it. If you win one of the first 2 in Houston, it doesn't matter. But we are going on to this one. Fred VanVleet, very clearly on your screen, very clearly on my screen, the guy that I like the most. I think he, at 6,700, I mean, he's just playing a gob of minutes. And in these Steven Adams, like there's just no way that Jalen Green ends up, unless he goes completely scorched earth on the world, there's just no way that he's going to be on the floor in those lineups. And those lineups have just eviscerated Golden State. And so there's no planet where you're not going to be playing a ton of Fred VanVleet just because you know Şengün and Adams are going to be sharing the center spot. Now, what I think is fun and is probably going to change with this update that you've got coming in is I did have a majority of my lineups. Over 50% of them had Şengün Adams. 2 centers over on DK. I had 82% of Steven Adams. I had 70% Alperen Şengün. I was just jamming this game because the minutes are so certain and the salaries are so low for these guys relative to Indy. Like, yeah, it's a playoff game for Cleveland, for Indy, but like you really need Tyrese Halliburton to somehow walk into, just a ridiculous outlier outcome to beat Fred VanVleet and to beat Steph Curry, in my opinion, just because of the minutes you're getting from Steph Curry and Fred VanVleet. It's a worse game environment, but the minutes are everything here. And like 41 and a half minutes, what we have projected here, or you have projected here, 41 and a half minutes for Fred VanVleet, I think is the right number. 42, 43, I think a pretty likely outcome here. And I just like getting to him at 6,700 a lot more than I like getting to Halliburton. And then as far as the center position goes in the previous game, Allen, I just don't think touches the kind of minutes barring foul trouble that Alperen Şengün can. And then Steven Adams at 3,800 is your best sub 4K piece of value that we have on the entire slate. So like, what do you do other than play a bunch of this game and hope you get the right pieces that break your way and then play some of those, like, now we're going to get so many mid-range pieces of value, whether it's DeAndre Hunter, whether it's, not Isaac Okoro anymore, but like a little bit of Sam Merrill. Like we're going to get to some Cleveland mid-range 4,500 and under pieces. And then I'm going to play Adams with them. And then I'm going to play the studs. Like that's just the way this slate works. I don't know what that differentiator piece is. Maybe you could talk yourself into Dylan Brooks. I can't really. I want to, like, I really, really do, but he's got a 14.5 PRA prop right now in the industry. You put that next to like anything else in terms of value on the Cleveland side, it's going to look ridiculous.
I'm feeling pretty good here. I'm just about done this update.
Okay.
Like the first draft
just
of it, at least.
Because I was like, let me just keep going and make sure that.
No, I feel good. I like Houston here. Like you mentioned your Şengün and Adams combos. Well, I had 54% of Şengün before and 73% of Adams. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I had something pretty comparable in that scenario. I'm well over on VanVleet. I think he's live to play like 46, 47 minutes today. It maybe never come off the floor, something small in the second quarter. And then that's just it. It's the Green, Brooks, Smith, Eason group of 4 that it's just like one of those guys is going to be a guy you're probably going to want to have today. And I don't have a damn clue how to figure out who that is.
Fun. Yeah, no clue.
It's tricky there.
Mix and match a little bit. Obviously, play more than one lineup. I'm playing 150 today. I'm just, I'm playing more. I'm not just doing the 20 max stuff that I was doing the last couple days. So I think just playing a lot of Adams, Curry, Butler, Şengün, and then mixing and matching the other 4 spots with value in the previous game, value in this game. I think that's just kind of the way to go about playing this slate. Like, Adams has been so good. We all see it. We've all witnessed these lineups. I don't think it's long-term viable against other teams. It's definitely viable against a Golden State team that cannot rebound, cannot finish, any possession with, some of the hounding that these guys have done on the perimeter, on Curry, on Buddy Hield, on some of these other pieces. I mean, Golden State's got to make shots. I will say with Peyton out, we haven't talked about the Kuminga thing yet again. What are we doing with Kuminga? What are you putting his minutes at?
I just pushed projections. I'm about to run ownership right now. I'm going to take one last look on it. I haven't seen any props or anything pop up for him, so there's not much that I can really do. Like, I'm flying blind. A couple minutes, nothing that you're going to get to in this slate, I don't think. Showdown,
Okay.
different conversation, obviously. All right, I just kicked off ownership, so that should be up in about a minute. And I'm going to continue to keep an eye on the bets and stuff. We might get another one up here.
I want to see what did the numbers flip to for Ty Jerome. So he was at 13.5 all day points. He was at 3.5 assists, 3.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, something like that across the entire board today. And I didn't see what he got updated to after Garland got ruled out.
Not a huge bump,
okay,
but a minute or two, but relatively marginal. The guy that actually took the most minutes in this scenario, not a great per minute guy. Dean Wade just sort of had to soak up a bunch of them.
Okay. I'm seeing
Sam Merrill got 23 or 24. This is just off the top of my head. The projections are on the site right now. So if you're to Stokastic, you can look at this stuff. I'm exporting it all now so I can pull it up on the screen for us.
He is at 21.5 PRA. So I came over and sniped a bet for everybody on the show last week. Gone 5-0 my last 5 NBA bets. Gary Payton went under his 8.5 points prop, which was ridiculous. I think Ty Jerome's 21.5 PRA is pretty ridiculously low over at Hard Rock. Pretty darn low over at where is it at? Yeah, it's at Hard Rock right now. If you have Hard Rock, if you're in Florida, fire that up immediately. Minus 115 over there. Don't see a planet where it should be that low.
I am just about ready to put this shit on the screen. I believe, at least. Source NBA EV.
Hi, Duke.
Activate. How's the pup?
He's doing great. He's feeling better.
Good.
He had his father-in-law stay with him last night. We were out of town, so just for a day trip.
My little buddy took a nap with my cousin yesterday, and her dog, he was a happy camper. I just refreshed my lineups as if that was the table that I was supposed to refresh, and now everything's just...
You ever go through a hard time? If you ever go through a hard time, which my last month, I don't really talk about it on shows. I've not had the best month or so run in life. And having a dog is so much better than not having a dog. I don't know what I would do to feel better without Duke. So rhymes with nukes. We could probably do the nuke in a minute, but we had a super chat. Top 3 plays on the slate for DK, not including Ty Jerome. All right.
Yeah. I was waiting on that one because we had no information until 30 seconds ago, but everything's up. So hit
Butler, Curry, Adams for me.
Okay. I'm still making one last little minor tweak on the back end, but what we have out there should be fine. Just making sure that any betting odds aren't flying different directions or anything. You never know.
Can we get the Mavs on the screen? Yeah, there's no Mavs.
They'd love it.
There's no Mavs.
They'd prefer it. They'd love to be on the screen.
Yeah, can we roster them from Cabo? Probably not.
All right, I'm gonna
love DeAndre
that
Hunter.
Up one little notch. That up one little notch. Steph looks good. Butler looks good. Quentin Post looks good. One little more. Butler just keeps looking better and better to me as I look at this stuff.
Yeah,
might be a little high on Donovan Mitchell.
There's a world Butler plays 48 minutes today. Just throwing it out there for people.
Certainly something in that neighborhood. 40, 45, like 44 plus, barring weird stuff, is like the way that I like to sort of describe those situations from time to time.
Yeah, that's the better way of saying it. Like, there's no Thibodeau 48 minutes, Josh Hart thing. Like, again, you would much rather see Jimmy Butler at least get one breather early on in that game. But yeah, second half playing an entire half wouldn't shock me at all.
All right. I'm pushing my final projections update. Not that they weren't fine before if you started, but I just moved a minute around on a couple of these guys. Let's lock it down. Let's make our push to lock. Do you want to get some nukes done?
Hit the button.
Boom, everybody.
30 seconds.
That never gets old to me. Nuke at the nighttime, everybody. We got to find out who the best play of the day is. So I'm going to throw it to Eric to start. I want to know who's the dude for you. Who is going to be your nuke of the night?
Yeah, it's not very interesting to say Steph Curry or Jimmy Butler at their ownerships. It's not very interesting to say, where I think Ty Jerome's going to end up landing when it's all said and done, or DeAndre Hunter especially. But one point guard that you just don't really want to play this slate without, and he's been the difference on Houston flipping the switch as a 3-1 series favorite. Brought him up as my favorite play last slate, and he's going to be my favorite play this slate. Fred VanVleet is your nuke of the night, 6,700. These lineups do not include Jalen Green when it is Steven Adams and Alperen Şengün on the lineup. You know who ends up doing everything, who has all the perimeter shooting, is knocking down perimeter shots? It's Fred VanVleet, and he is just... you can't look at the regular season all the time, and people want to do this all the time. It's just like, oh, well, this is what he averaged during the regular season. No, just throw it all away. Fred VanVleet is a different human being right now because they are asking him to do different things. He's playing with different lineups. They are doing the things that it takes to win one game today, and that requires playing 40 plus minutes for your best point guard. Fred VanVleet, 6,700, nuke of the night.
I like it. I'm going to have a lot of them. I have absolutely no disagreement with it whatsoever. I'm hoping that this holds because I still have to run my next stuff. But I had a giant stand on this guy earlier. I'm hoping that I still have that same giant stand on him when I'm about to kick this sim run off. It's a game 7. Season on the line, on the road, no less. It's not Jimmy Butler for me. Give me Steph Curry. Rain threes. Take it over. I'm going to rely on experience in this one. So give me the best shooter of all time. Steph Curry, nuke of the night.
Hey, we're both taking NBA champion point guards who have done amazing things in the postseason. I'm really excited to see those two go back and forth. Like, there's going to be more back and forth between those two today than what most people probably think there is. I mean, obviously, than ownership thinks. The Donovan Mitchell having shooting guard positionality is so useful. I'm just going to get to a lot of those three together. I'm going to play a lot of Jimmy Butler. They're just not expensive enough. And if Tyrese Halliburton goes for a nuke, I swear to God, I'm going to lose my mind because
I'm dead if that happens.
Oh my God. Just toast. And he's an Iowa State guy. So obviously I'm not cheering against him. I just hope you got to play the game 7. You got to play the minutes game. It's just Curry and Fred VanVleet by far for me.
Yep. I think you and I are on the same page for this one. I'm just bouncing through all the teams here. I had Cleveland up for DraftKings and for FanDuel. We'll hop over. This is the update for ownership. Mitchell now 50% owned on the DraftKings side. Mobley's at 50. DeAndre Hunter's at 45. Strus is at 40. Ty Jerome's at 35. Similar on the FanDuel side. Indy really kind of just the same team that they were before. We didn't have any major changes, so they just rotate around it. I guess Golden State would be the team that we want to look at here. Jimmy Butler, 50% owned. Steph, 30% owned, at least as of our last run. And I'm about to kick my sim off.
God, the Bajemski thing freaks me out a little bit too. I'm way lower on him than I was before. I had a ton. I do not have a ton.
I don't know what I'm going to have here other than I hope it's Steph Curry. Otherwise, that nuke of the night is going to be a little fibby.
You're going to feel like a real asshat, aren't you?
I might. All right. I just kicked off the sim run. We have 7.5 minutes until we get to lock. Again, don't forget to hit that like button. Let me hit Golden State on the FanDuel side here too. 60% ownership to Butler still, 50 to Steph, 30 to Pods, 25 to Moody. We are going with the assumption that it's Pods and Healed with Moody still coming off the bench. I do think that's still up in the air, but that is the assumption that is in this model right now. That is what you're going to be working with at Stokastic.com. And then for Houston, just to touch on the ownership, we got Van Vliet at 30, Amin Thompson at 40, Şengün at 40, Adams at 30. The rest of the side guys bouncing all over the place. Adams way less interesting on FanDuel in terms of like ownership because there's only one center spot, but it's still Van Vliet and Amin Thompson here. I'm pumped for these games, man. Especially Indy Cleveland.
I was gonna say, especially Indy Cleveland. I'm definitely looking forward to Houston Golden State just to see who Minnesota ends up playing, obviously, and then it's a game 7. I mean, game 7 NBA with historically a team that a lot of people would refer to as a dynasty taking on, I would say, like the new up and comers. Yeah, they've got veteran pieces in Adams and Van Vliet, but like this is a really young Houston core, and they don't even have to necessarily go down the bench to a ton of Jabari Smith, a ton of Tari Eason. They've got Reed Shepherd, who was the favorite to win Rookie of the Year coming into the season. If people remember, like there are so many young pieces and fun pieces that exist on Houston for years to come. And like, this is not like a changing of the guard situation, but it's definitely old school versus new school. And I'm looking forward to it.
All right. I just pasted my lineups in and uploaded them. So let me put them in my sheet and we can take a look and see what I have.
God, if Jalen Green goes off today, I'm going to be so tilted, Josh.
I have less Steph, but I'm still over the field. Whew.
All right. I am just, how much Steven Adams did you end up with?
I have 63% of Steven Adams. I'll hit people with my fades, my stands.
Okay.
I have 4 massive stands for today. I am 20 to 30% over the field on the guys that I'm about to mention. Steven Adams, 60%. He's 30% owned. Moses Moody in 50% of my stuff. He's 25% owned. Van Vliet, 55% owned. He's projecting 30. And then 75% of Jimmy Butler, who's projecting for 50% ownership. My biggest fade is Tyrese Halliburton.
Makes sense. Everything you said sounds correct.
I love when Stay Off My Grass comes to talk shit in like the comments of the video and then shows up like asking if you should roster Gary Payton. It never fails, man. Never fails. Yeah, Stay Off My Grass. Payton, by the way.
69% Steven Adams. I have my second highest owned player, Jimmy Butler, 65% Steph Curry as well. Have 62% DeAndre Hunter. He just fits in lineups very, very easily. Donovan Mitchell north of 50%. Max Strus exactly 50%. Evan Mobley 44%. I need to probably give a little bit more to Alperen Şengün before we get off this show, but I feel pretty good about what I'm looking at.
I don't have any of my boy Isaac Okoro, which is a little bit depressing for me personally.
See how that goes.
The other big fades that I have: Miles Turner, Nesmith, and Siakam. So my 4 biggest fades are the core of the Pacers.
Rip City, or maybe not. We'll see. It should be fun. Yeah. How much Amin Thompson? We haven't said his name one time the entire show. I'm holding hands basically 36% of the field. He's at 40%. Same. Like I don't really, there's like a number of those guys like Draymond Green. I'm playing 25% of Draymond Green. I don't really have a stand on him either. Like I don't have a stand on anybody. It's weird to me that I'm under on Pascal Siakam, but not really that weird on this slate because Curry, Butler, Van Vliet, like these are all just priority options in the 6,500 plus range and not really going to be dropping into that territory all that much. So congratulations to Pascal Siakam for finally putting up 50 plus today.
Van Vliet and Hunter or Jerome and Draymond on FanDuel? Feels like the first two for me,
Van
but I just don't know their
Hunter,
prices, so I'm looking at it.
Yeah, the Draymond piece is the piece that I don't have the most of relative to the other four. I have a lot of Van Vliet, Hunter, Jerome, so definitely going to be Van Vliet, Hunter for me.
Yeah, Van Vliet and Hunter. All right, 2.5 minutes to go. Let me see if we have anything in Discord quickly, just in case. I want to make sure I hit that. If we have it, again, playback will have the game on. We're not going to be there, but it will be on for anybody that wants to watch. Let's see. No questions. Okay. At least I don't see any. Sweet. I think Cleveland wins game 1. I think Golden State wins game 7. That's where I'm landing for right now. But man, what I have on the screen right now is going to make or break everything, because I just am very, very light on the Pacers. I'm under on every single one of them, including TJ McConnell now.
Wow. Yeah, it's tough. I like Benedict Mathurin still. I got 15% of him. And I think that's like right at the field, basically. Said I was going to get to a little bit of him. I'm under on everybody else, too. I have 6% Tyrese Halliburton. Rip me. Rip.
Right now, 55% of the ownership on DraftKings is projected to go to the first game.
That's crazy.
And I have 55% on the second game. So I basically have the exposures from game 1 to game 2. And I would rather have game 2. So I'm happy about that, too.
Yeah, and just thinking through it, I mean, 1 is an elimination game, 1 is not. I don't even think it needs some kind of dissertation beyond that. Like, we kind of know what we're getting in terms of, like, Golden State has only so many options to screw around with now, so it's almost like Steve Kerr's worst nightmare. But yeah, I feel really good about what I'm looking at now.
Okay.
I think I'm actually going to be like Dylan Brooks might end up lower owned than what you think. I don't know. He only played 19 minutes, but like, I don't think that that's indicative. There was a lot of like ridiculousness going on. You know, obviously you get the extracurricular activities of that game. You had 4 fouls in 19 minutes. Like, I don't know. I'm just looking at my main lineup, my number 1 lineup, and it's got 2, Mathurin and Hunter, and then everybody else, the other 6 from the other game. I'm pretty happy with this.
Well, we've got about 30 seconds to go until lock. I'm feeling good. Lineups are in.
Same.
We're going to watch a little bit of Eastern Conference basketball. We're going to sit back, relax, do some swaps. I guess I got to get registered for Showdown for Golden State.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, might as well win back-to-back on these contests.
Yeah, you get to split with Bellman, because Bellman is just...
He just wins 20 grand every day, dude.
I mean, these screenshots every day, I'm so happy for him, because everybody knows he's the nicest guy that may be here, period, end of story. But also, I want to be that fucking guy. So let's go. Let's start winning some of these contests, Eric. So in the $4, I just want to win the $4, Josh. Let me win the $4 today. God damn it. Like, I got 12th though in the $18 in the early slate for baseball. So I'm not going to bitch too much. Go Kansas City. Thank you for that, guys. But yeah, let's go watch some basketball. This is going to be really, really fun. Who do you think wins Houston Golden State? I never asked you before.
Golden State.
Oh, that'd be music to my ears. Might have to fly back to Minnesota for that one.
Well, time to go watch some basketball, everybody. Hit the like button on your way out the door. Thank you for being here. Playback.tv/Stokastic. If you want to go watch the game and hang out, the link is in chat. Good luck, everybody.